Singapore could see taller residential and commercial buildings around its airports in years to come. The Civil Aviation Authority of Singapore is leading a global effort to review height restrictions around airports. The new global standard is expected to take effect this August. Transport Minister Chee Hong Tat revealed this at the Singapore Business Awards. He says technological advancements in aircraft and air navigation systems have changed since requirements were set in the 1950s. He says the review would mean more airspace surrounding airports could be freed up for new and taller developments. He says the changes would be beneficial for Singapore given its limited land space.
More studies need to be done by various agencies to confirm the increase in height restrictions in Singapore, but this change will support further land intensification, which is very important because Singapore is land scarce and we want to maximize our land productivity. Now, this will help to open up opportunities for our businesses and have the potential to increase our overall housing supply that I believe will also benefit all Singaporeans.
So, when the new standards are adopted, how would it change Singapore's landscape? Let's take a closer look. With the revised limitations, housing development blocks and private condominiums could be built higher, with more floors and up to an additional 15. This could also mean more housing units in each building. Industrial and commercial buildings can also be built up to 9 stories taller. The added spaces could offer more options for new firms or existing ones looking to expand their operations. The Civil Aviation Authority of Singapore says advanced navigation equipment, aircraft avionics and instrument flight procedures allow modern aircraft to operate more precisely in lesser airspace. There are 3 civilian airports in Singapore. The country's main airport is Changi, while Seletar and Paya Lebar also handle civilian flights. For more on how the changes will impact Singapore's land use planning, I'm joined by Professor Sing Tien Foo, Provost Chair Professor in the Department of Real Estate at NUS Business School. Prof, thanks for joining me this evening. Now, what are the implications, if the height restriction is relaxed for residential and commercial buildings?
Right. With the relax of these height restrictions, I think we can intensify the land use further. So without actually further expanding the land stock. So by increasing the capacity of land, we can actually build more residential building, commercial building. In the long term, this actually can add on to the supply of this new space in the market. This can actually help to stabilize the property market in the long term and also help to actually stabilize the business costs as well, because I think the competition is keener. I think one of the constraints Singapore faces is always this high land cost. By allowing land to be built higher, but to be intensified, actually per unit cost in the long term will come down. Right, even given more lands available and can be built to a higher density.
And what are these areas are we looking at when these restrictions are relaxed?
In the past, I think because of the small size of Singapore, so we're actually affected by the height restriction quite badly, because I think if it expand the coverage, from the near the airport areas, I think Singapore, quite large substantial areas of Singapore land will be affected. So by relaxing this constraint, in fact, we can see area near Changi, even the Paya Lebar Air Base. I think when the air base relocated, this will be a big greenfield area that we can see a lot more flexibility and resilience in the long-term supply of land use as well.
Okay, so these are hotspots we can be looking at, Changi and kind of Paya Lebar kind of area. How many more flats or floor space can realistically be added to the housing developments?
We are looking at 2 kind of redevelopment options. One is actually existing buildings. Existing building, the lowest density building can be actually intensified. In other words, we can actually tear it down and rebuild to a higher density. The other ones like Paya Lebar Air Base, where after the air base relocated, we can actually have a lot more flexibility to reconfigure the area into more integrated and more compact kind of city in the Paya Lebar area with higher density, and yet we are able to create a lot more green buffer as well. So I think this will be good experiments in the long term for the urban planning for Singapore.
Okay. So in terms of timelines, Professor, how soon do you think we can see these changes happening?
With this revision, if it take place in August, I think we'll probably see the next master plan review, which is current ongoing 2025. Some area may see some of these changes where they're allowed to increase the density, especially area near the airport area. And Paya Lebar Airport probably will take a little while because I think the comprehensive urban planning are still in the process of review. So we probably will see areas, even though in the city area, CBD areas, we already see some areas the height constraint have been gradually reduced or removed. In the sense, I think some older part of the CBD area may see potential for redevelopment if the intensity of the land increase.
Okay. Now, there has to be studies to be done, right, to talking about optimizing height. What are some of these considerations?
Yeah. Actually, there are two aspects of it. One is actually we have to look at the physical aspect. Not intensification of the land use, you also affect the infrastructures and also the supporting kind of connectivity, and including the transportation. I think the other thing also very important we shouldn't neglect is actually the economic growth, because additional space created need to be absorbed by the, if there's economic growth, there are more job, more investment, and also the demographic aspect also not to be neglected, because I think the new houses need to be absorbed by the buyers, and we need to see expansion as well in terms of the household size and the demand for houses as well.
Right. Now, Minister also talked about how the benefits of relaxing these restrictions depend on infrastructure and planning considerations. What might some of these considerations be?
Yeah. Other than the infrastructures and the planning consideration, I think the other thing is by allowing the land to be intensified, I think it gives the planner a lot more flexibility in trading off the competing land use, because currently we face the land scarcity. A lot of land had to be evaluate carefully in terms of competing land use. So with this intensification, I think with the same amount of land, we can actually build the city more resilience and more sustainability, in the sense we can actually build more intense, more compact in certain area, but allowing environmentally sensitive areas like water catchment area to be actually preserved for green buffer, and also try to reduce the kind of damage to the environments as well.
Okay. Now, while we get all excited about building higher and taller and sky high, let's not forget about low-rise buildings, right? Singapore is very unique. We have these beautiful heritage conservation, shop houses. There's also townhouses. So where do you find that sweet spot in terms of urban planning, aesthetics, balancing sky high as well as the existing heritage low-rise?
When we actually relax the height constraint, we probably won't see that the whole island will be built intensely. I think in certain area, the land use will be more compact, especially near the town areas, near the transport hub and so on. I think by building more compactly, we allow this distribution of land use to be actually spread out wider, in the sense I think a lot more area further away from the town center, we can actually keep this area at a low rise and more green space and so on. I think this helps to balance in terms of intensification, and at the same time preserve the environment as well.
So the sweet spot of aesthetics as well, not just like a wall of tall urban buildings, right?
Because I think by building the town more compactly, we can also reduce the kind of pollution as well, because I think now with the more compact town, you can actually cut down the transport time. People don't have to commute so far to work, play, and even live. So this can actually cut down transportation and also reduce the number of reliance on private vehicle as well. This, in the long term, actually help the city to be more resilient and more sustainable.
All right, Tien Foo, thanks for joining us. Thanks for those insights. And that was Professor Sing Tien Foo, Provost Chair Professor in the Department of Real Estate at NUS School. Also at the Singapore Business Awards, Transport Minister Chee Hong Tat said businesses should continually review its rules and processes to enhance efficiency. He cited the Land Transport Authority's streamlined processes as an example. It has transitioned from physical letters to digital notifications for electronic road pricing fines. Later this year, an alert will appear on the display of the onboard unit to settle the fine. This means the $10 admin fee will no longer be imposed.